Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to our meeting. It's 5 o'clock and we'll call this meeting to order. Would you please stand and join us for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Aaron, would you take the note? Sure.
Councilmember Schmidt. Here. Councilmember Sherling.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer. Here. Councilmember Dietrich.
Here.
Councilmember Gray.
Here.
Okay, before we start the approval of the agenda, I just wanted to, we have a proclamation that I just wanted to make sure that we got out with your kindness. The month of July was our Communication Professionals Month, and with that, I am proclaiming the month of July, our Communications Professional Month, and we'll put that on does it press me that? Do you need a copy of that or anything? Okay, you got one there. Let's get it to, yeah, both press and radio. And thank for their interviews that we did this past month, so we appreciate that. All right, before we do the approval of the agenda, I understand we had, somebody wanted to have us, remove an item from it, item 3.6. Is that all there was tonight?
That's all I heard about was pulling item 3.6, which is the fee schedule. I'd like to have additional conversations on that. We'll do that at the committee of the whole meeting.
Yep, and
I did provide additional information at the desk here as to what the current fee is and what the proposed fee is.
okay, is there any other items that we need for consideration before so I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the amended agenda.
I shall approve the amended agenda.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, Linda?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Marion?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay, now it's public input period. Please come to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record before proceeding with any comments. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, with the overall public input period limited to 30 minutes. Under Iowa Open Meetings Law, the city council can take no formal action on comments given during the public input period which do not relate to action items on the agenda.
Jay Schmidt, 750 Ridgewood,
Okay.
Manchester. I'd like to find out if anybody received any evidence about me running a secret organization against the Manchester airport. Okay, there's no evidence against me. I was running an organization, but I'm not here to insult Miss Wedworth. I'm just here, I'm not gonna do that.
No,
I'm just here to say one thing. She needs to be removed from the airport committee. She made accusations against me and my family. And none of them were true. Now the council better step up and do the right thing. That's all I got to say.
thank you. Does anybody else want to address the council?
Hello, Donna Boss. 223 West Main is the DSED new address, and also as a ag producer, 24521 40th Avenue in Manchester. I just want to thank you for your support and of approving item 6.1 this evening. I had sent some information and wanted to make sure all received about the number of acres that our ag producers are indirectly using the Manchester Airport. In my discussions with Innovative Ag in Masonville, they utilize over 35,000 acres of fungicide spray with 150 ag producers, corn producers using it for fungicide. You're hearing those airplanes now. Again, we're in a great need of increasing our bushels at this time with decreased corn prices. That equates to over 1.4 million in product sales, then also with application fees. Again, that's over 35,000 acres in Delaware County that is being utilized out of our Manchester Airport. our total number of acres that we have in Delaware County. This is from the USDA report from 2017, our latest information, 364,645. So again, this is just one co-op in Delaware County that's utilizing our Manchester Airport. So again, I thank you for your yes vote for item number 6.1 to give our city manager the opportunity to go towards the grant. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak to the council? Okay, hearing none, I will close the public input period and we'll go to our consent agenda. Item 3.1, need approval of the minutes of the July 8th, 2024 regular council meeting and the July 10th city council work session. I need a motion to adopt resolution 77, approving our bills and the accounts payable reports. Next, I need a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the following city reports and minutes. There's library board meeting, park and rec, and wastewater. Item 3.4, I need a motion to approve the receipt of unpaid nuisance mowing and nuisance abatement fees and approve the certification to the Delaware County Treasurer to collect on property taxes. I think you've seen the list of the properties listed. Next, I need a motion to approve, there's an ownership change to liquor, tobacco, and vape at 316 East Main Street. As a result, they need a new application for their cigarette permit. Next, I need a motion to adopt resolution 78. And
I
that,
just pulled that.
we pulled that one, so sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Next, I need a motion to approve Bill Corcoran at 108 East Fayette Street doing business as Corcoran's Barber Service. They are doing a facade grant in the amount of $362.93, and the design committee has reviewed. The application is recommending approval. Next, I need a motion to approve the payment to Per Graham in the amount of $32,366, and that's for the 2024 street improvement project on East Main. I also need a motion to approve the payment of claims totaling $31,308.25 to Burrington Group for both the Grand Avenue Street Extension Project and Commerce Port Street Extension Project. And then I will take a motion to approve the consent agenda, and then we can open it up to discussion.
I move for approval of the consent agenda with 3.6 readings. I'll second it.
Is there any comments or discussion? Hearing none, Marianne,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
and Linda, yes. Okay. Next, a regular agenda item. The first item we have tonight is a motion authorizing the city manager to proceed with submitting the capital improvement plan update to the Federal Aviation Administration for the airport runway rehabilitation project.
Can you speak on that real quick, Tim, on
Sure.
what we're doing today?
Basically, what we're doing today is authorizing me to submit the grant application. If we are awarded, if it is submitted in time for consideration into the federal fiscal year budget, they would submit to us a letter announcing the award to the city. The city council will have to take action to authorize me then to sign an award letter, entering into the grant agreement.
So we're just giving you permission to see if the money is truly available to us to do the project.
That's correct. We're just planning the project in there. If there are funding available, then we would be awarded.
And we have the plans to submit for that.
All this is just a draft agreement, a very general concept statement. That stuff would all have to be hashed out once we get the grant award. Then we can go out for the engineer selection. And then we can go out for the design plans and specifications, go out for bids, and then go through that
So this
process.
is just step one.
This is just step one.
Of getting, see if we basically can apply.
That is correct. I know we have direct allocation of about $150,000 a year, so there's about $450,000 at a minimum right now we can use towards this project. But I don't want to say it's guaranteed, but that's what's allocated, the direct allocation to our NICIS rated airport. There is bilateral infrastructure law funds that was designated towards airports. Our airport was designated that with $120,000 a year for 3 years, but year one is slipping away from us. So we only have 2 years left of that we can use for our project. So that's where some of that other funding is coming from. And typically, as an airport permit program type of project, again, it's a 90-10 split. But with the bill money, our percentage is lower, and as we talked about during the committee of the whole meeting with the gentleman, the new law is a 95-5 split, so it could be even cheaper than that right now.
With that said, I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Any other questions, comments? Discussion?
Thank you for disclosing all that.
Okay, hearing none. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And Mary Ann?
Yes.
All right, item 6.2, I need a motion authorizing, or a motion to proceed with the first consideration and adoption of ordinance 11/2024, amending the Manchester Code of Ordinances by adding a new provision regarding parental responsibility. And do we want to let Chief Davis talk about that? Okay.
So, it was brought to my attention the last meeting, essentially, I understand there's some rare occasions in where maybe the juvenile judicial system doesn't benefit what we're trying to do. So with that, prior administration had asked the city attorney to draft up and give some examples of how to go a little bit further in those rare instances where juvenile offenders aren't getting the point, and the city needs a different way to elaborate or basically evaluate those things within city code. So Attorney Peter brought that to my attention, what was it, 2 meetings ago? Or one meeting?
Last meeting.
It was the last meeting, so I reviewed it, kind of got some back history to that. The officers kind of got some of the background on that, just, they said that that's something that they did want. They had brought to previous administrations, so I brought it back to Aaron and just said this is something that they want to move forward with, so.
Are there other communities using this?
I believe most of the format came from Dubuque, correct? At least that's-
I forget where there was 2 other cities he pulled that
Okay.
that Jim pulled this from.
From where?
I
I
forget
believe
which.
Dubuque was one of the main
Okay.
ones. They have an ordinance that mimics this.
You know, the problem with this ordinance is if you could make an ordinance and really make parents be reasonable parents and do their jobs, this would be a great, this has got to be used pretty sparing. It's gonna be the rare
Well,
instance.
Doesn't the state of Iowa, I mean, as a parent, I mean, you're responsible for your minor child, so.
You're responsible for the civil damages caused by their illegal acts up to $2,500. But you're not really responsible, like, let's just say you decide, I don't care if my kids throw a huge party tonight and start, make meth, I know they're doing it, I'm just gonna turn my back. That's not reasonable care. There wouldn't be any damages, so you couldn't do anything to them. Because nobody was damaged, but you can find them at least and do something. It was really just the very small times where the officers felt their hands were tied. They had nothing to do, but they needed to get somebody's attention before it got worse.
That's I guess I've reached out to quite a few people just to talk and get their view, and I really am getting pushback as far as adopting something like this. It just seems like overreach as far as, I guess I would want more data. Is there a huge problem in this town? I don't see a problem in this town.
Well, you'll have to give me some time on that.
Yeah,
Like
because
said, walked
I
through
just-
this, So,
I just don't see the data that supports trying to jump to something like this. I mean, you're asking, as a stepfather, I mean, I didn't have the opportunity to raise my children, but, if they'd been under my household, I just feel that, you can only teach them so much, and if they go out and be a bad child,
Yeah.
I just feel that holding the parents responsible, I mean, they're gonna feel responsible enough, but I'd have a hard time with this one.
A lot of parents don't feel the responsibility, and it does only apply to reasonable control, failure to exercise reasonable control. The problem is that's a very broad term.
And how do you go about proving that they turn their back, and, I mean, that would be tough.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it would be, it's a tool, but not one you would use frequently, because it'd be a difficult proof, there'd be rare occasions where you've got to prove it.
I'd like to table it until we get more information.
What would you like?
Well, like other cities are doing it. If it's a big problem in Manchester, like,
Yeah, I would just like to have, you know, can you bring us some more data that just would even inkle that we would need something like this? I mean,
Just to clarify, you want specifics on like,
yeah, I don't know, I don't even know where you go with this.
with this code, we would not be doing it. This isn't something that we use all the time. This is those rare instances. So are you looking for statistics or data based on certain scenarios in which we would?
Yeah.
would-
Yeah, you would
be able
apply.
to
That you would
this.
apply this, yeah, okay, I mean, I'm just trying to think of scenarios that would.
I look at this thing and look at the first violation is really nothing. Second violation comes down to subject to the approval of the chief of police. You know, so I think there again, it's kind of a, like Jim said, it's kind of an open tool that if it's needed, it would be out there in case.
And I'll admit, from my end, these would be very difficult cases to prove.
Very, I would think.
I mean, this would not be my normal speeding ticket prosecution.
Right.
But on the other hand, I would hope we would only use it in a case where it was worth the effort to go.
You had a problem child that was vandalizing.
Well,
2 weeks
it
later,
would be repeated offenses.
Right,
Where,
right.
You know, we would constantly go through the juvenile adjudication process. That continues to fail. Other traditional methods have failed. And that would be a conversation with me and Attorney Peters at that point to determine that after X amount of times of trying, you know, to go through the juvenile adjudication process that failed, having an extra step to kind of get issues.
and it just comes
We
down.
run into the same kind of problem, not with city ordinances, truancy laws.
Yeah.
Parents have to exercise reasonable efforts to get their kid to go to school. What's reasonable? You can't pick a 14-year-old up and carry him to school. On the other hand, leaving him in the country with no ride to school. That's where, I mean, there's always but they're difficult cases to prove, even truancy cases.
This would only be used in the event of where a parent is just being negligent, just plain negligent.
Yeah, and we would have the burden of proof to prove that on the city side. Right, so again, that would be, this is the city ordinance, that would be discussions with me and Mr. Peters to determine really what can we prove, does this specific code fit whatever specific scenario applies, but we would have to have the facts. and data.
I don't remember what the circumstances were that brought Hochschild to wanting this, but there was some circumstance, some issues they were facing where it was really designed at that. I just don't remember what it was.
Well, I would like to see something like that, and kind of understand, you know, is this a parent that just at the end just says, you know what, I can't handle this, you deal with it. You know, at that point, then I would think you could spin this towards the parents, like, no, you know, this is your child.
Yeah.
You know, you need to help us.
Jack, I can put some together for the next meeting, but go ahead.
Having been in a school, we all know that there are kids at school that are repeat offenders. And I think that this is the kind of thing that schools often go through too, where you have a child and you're talking to the parent constantly. You're bringing the parent in, you're trying to talk to them. Talking does no good. The kid repeats. And I noticed at the end, the last thing that is offered is a child or a family in need of assistance. And I know that this has happened in schools where that it has come to that because of the inability of the parent to deal with the child. It's not because anybody wants to wants to take a child away from a family or whatever. But I just want to say that there are situations where it does get this bad. And so I personally would like to see something like this. I have no problem because I have faith that you as a police chief are not going to use this just every time a kid writes on a picnic paper. That you're going to use this with the intent in mind of helping that family be more cohesive, having the parent work with the child, having maybe the child be responsible for some of that cost. Giving the parent a chance to go to a class to learn some parenting skills. That's often something that's suggested in school when you have children that are having problems, is you try to train the parents because maybe they don't do a good job of, because they don't know how to be good parents. So I think that all the parts are there. I personally have no problem with it because I feel that I have faith in you and the way that you're gonna deal with it. If it was a different chief of police, I might feel differently. So at this point, I would say I approve of it. I think it's a good thing to do. Do I ever want to see it used? No, because I never want to see a kid get to that point. But I think it helps us to have it as a tool.
Which, the way you say it, the reality would be if the child commits a crime and they think the parents should be doing it. This would be a tool you would use before you filed for juvenile delinquency case or before you filed a DHS referral.
Definitely, there's a lot of steps here.
So but there aren't gonna be many of those because it's usually gonna be bad enough you're gonna do the DHS referral but there are gonna be some. I think that's what, when I talked to Jim, that was in the continuum, it was something better than going to the system for the other stuff, because city charges are not crimes. They're just civil matters.
Right.
Can't go to jail for anything we charge. I also don't think it's an emergency that getting a couple examples is a bad thing either. I wouldn't mind knowing a few of them, so I know how to prosecute them as well.
I have no problem with seeing something before.
So I'll entertain a motion for how you want to proceed.
Wendy, you made a motion to table it.
Yeah. I motion table it until we get more information from the chief.
All right, I need a second then.
Second.
Okay. And Brenda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
No,
Joe?
I support what we have in front of us, but I'll vote yes to table it to work together as a council to let everybody see examples.
I agree with Joe. I approve of what it says. If people feel they need to see more.
yeah, that's kind of the way I was, but I didn't really feel the table with it. So.
Okay. All right, so we'll table that until we get some more information and, maybe even include one of the officers who's kind of, was part of putting that all together would be helpful. They're out on the streets too, so we can see what's going on. All right, next we have a request, a motion, action and discussion for Wayne and Nikki Miranda. Their purchase property at 245 Park Drive, and they want to add some livestock there. Do you want them to talk to us?
Sure.
I see they were here. Hi, Wayne. Hi, Nikki. You want to just come on up here and tell us about?
Sure. Sure, so we're in the process of purchasing that property across from the hospital. It's over 21 acres there, mostly wooded, and it butts up against the river in the back. It's pretty nice property. Right now, there's no livestock on it because I think it's been vacant for a year, but our kids have some ponies and some cattle that we like showing 4-H, and so we'd like to be able to bring them there with us so they can continue doing that. And we feel that with the size of the property, there's ample room for the amount of livestock we have to very easily keep the integrity of the property as far as how secluded it is and plenty of room for them to graze, and so it won't get muddy, run down, no nuisance problems I would perceive there. There's nobody residential around the property, so I think it would be a good fit there, so, yeah.
When I was growing up outside of Manchester, I'm excited to be back to Manchester. But,
Yeah.
we never had any large animals, and we had some chickens and stuff, but we were the first house outside of city limits, which it's way past, I think Fish Hatchery Road now, right?
Yeah.
But, so with Nikki, she kind of brought the large animals into my life and pretty happy about it.
Do you guys have any questions for them?
I do. Okay, fences, do you put in good fences?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, experts. I did.
It's like to get out.
A little
Yeah,
bit too
so-
wide.
I don't know if you saw the diagram at all, but
Yeah.
I know that Tim, I had talked to him and keeping the fence at least 3 feet away. We're planning on doing at least 20 feet away from the side that butts up against the hospital, with
The clinic.
disc golf
Oh.
course, so that there's still, you shouldn't be able to even see any animals from that way, so. Yeah, and I really like it, looks in there like you're not even in town, so I wanna keep all those trees on
Is
the
that
outside.
Mary's property?
Yep.
Yes, yeah.
And I didn't know if I needed to get approved by the city for, we have a set of 40 solar panels that I was gonna put along the south side. I don't know if I need to get.
Yeah, you'll have to get a building permit. That's all.
Oh,
That's another day.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk about this today.
Okay.
Okay.
The only thing I'm concerned about, and I'm just mentioning, growing up on a farm, horses and some cattle could get a little nervous with that helicopter coming up when you come.
Oh,
It can get pretty loud.
okay.
So I have no problem with it. I grew up around animals also. I just know how spooked a horse can get.
Oh, okay.
Really spooked sometimes. Plus you got a named one screaming in.
Yeah.
Just be aware of that. That's why I'd make sure you have good fences.
Yeah.
Well, I
Really
double
fences.
because it's gonna be, mesh wire fence or barbed wire on the top and then, hot wire on the inside.
Cause they'll jump.
Wood chlorophyll.
I've seen them. They'll jump. So, and I just don't wanna see anything happen.
Oh, yeah.
And now,
You talk running and
do you guys allow horses to be driven in town?
Ridden, you mean?
Driven,
You mean like with a horse and buggy or?
yeah,
your biggest problem is not gonna be.
I think we have others to do that.
Yeah.
in town, because we do have a driving horse and I was just wondering if there was a
It's a
chance
slow
of
moving
that.
vehicle.
Oh,
Yeah.
We won't probably do it very often, but yeah.
Okay. No further questions for this guy? Okay. I think, thank you. Before you then, we are, you guys ready to make a motion or ramp this or any further discussion?
I'd make a motion to approve item 6.3, while livestock animals be in town.
I'll second it.
I'll give Mary Ann, if that's okay. Okay, all right. All right. Let's call for any questions. Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Mary Ann,
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we have another one, request for special exception for livestock from Eric Baskey at 1328 North Fourth Street. Is he here today? Nope.
No.
He's got some chickens. Did he speak to either one of you guys about this at all, or?
He
I
has
saw his letter, I know.
talked to me, he did have chickens on the property, without having a permit from the city, that neighbors did complain regarding the chickens. And so that's where the enforcement action came from the city to let him remove the chickens from the city limits.
Okay. Has he reapplied for?
That's what this application is,
Okay,
because he did not have an application in previously.
okay.
Does he meet? I guess, I don't know if anybody's looked at this. Does he meet most of the, looks like he's far enough away from the back fence line. Only thing I see in the picture, and this is a picture, 7 chickens. We have 6.
6 is what we typically have.
I stopped up to see him and because I want to see what it looked like because it's really hard to see from the street. And so I asked permission to go into his backyard. He went with me. He does have too many chickens. But I told him that and he said, we will deal with that then. So he is now aware that he has more than what he's supposed to have.
6.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is 7 in the picture.
so. The rest of it looked fine to me. I mean, he's got a good fence. He's got a building for him. He appeared to be far enough away from property and that type of thing. So, I didn't think to ask him if he'd applied for the. So I'm glad that he has, so.
Can we make a motion to approve and then give him 14 days or whatever it is to get down to the number he needs to be. Let him have his chickens, but if he's only got to get rid of one.
That would be in the conditions.
Yeah, it's conditions of granting the approval.
I think it's fair because he's willing to do it. It's just that.
What would be a fair window of time for him to get rid of a chicken?
I think 14 days is one.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve, item 6.4 with a contingency that he gets down to a regulated amount he's allowed to have.
I'll second that.
14 days.
Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Miriam?
Yes.
Next, we have engineering updates. Who wants to go first? Jason said, I'll do it.
Go first.
Okay.
You made her here first.
Straightforward at this point.
So, at this point, Grand Avenue project is substantially complete with the exception of some seeding in the waterway on the east side that needs to be done. Hopefully we can get burned in here. Maybe yet this week. Haven't heard specific on the schedule. Just depends on if we get more rain or not out there. I'll be looking to schedule a walkthrough, punch list walk, a punch list walkthrough it done next week. And then that project will be, getting closer to being able to be accepted by the city. Move on with that. Commerce Port will have, contract spots for you at the next meeting to approve. Chick-fil-A will be looking to do a pre-con meeting shortly after that, and probably here by first part of August-ish, mid-August, probably they'll be mobilized to commence on that particular project out there off of Burrington Road to get that done. So I think that's all I really have for this evening, unless there's other questions.
Thank you. Yeah.
East Main Street, so I have a few things happening and maybe some of you have noticed, so Friday, July 12th, the subcontractor of Top Grade Wicks Construction was doing all the concrete work. They pulled off site and a new company moved in that I guess works with Wicks Construction quite often. They must follow them around from what I've gathered. So got them approved as a subcontractor, which is Hogan Company LLC. They were on site Wednesday, July 17th. And they're working to finish pouring all the sidewalks and driveways out there, so they only have, I think, 4 or 5 guys on their crew, so obviously no fault to them. Things are moving along slower because they only have a certain amount of men on their crew, and right now they have enough working days, so it's nothing, the city can do contractually to try to get things to move along quicker. We have had, discussions with the general contractor. That they didn't know pretty much until the day before which was gonna move off site, that they kind of gave them and said, hey, we're gonna be pulling out this day and this company's gonna come in and take our spot more or less as a sub. How do we do that? So Top Grade, I've worked with them to get approved, to get them working on site. But the other thing, we've had discussions with the general too, it's just hard to get anybody else in here as a different sub at that price. That's already had somebody else do half or 3/4 of the work. But like I said, there is project progress being made. They're working on sidewalks, driveways. As they complete the driveways for businesses and they achieve cure time, they will open those to traffic. So at least people can get in and out of those businesses utilizing the newly paved driveways, some of those only being rocked up at this time. Probably work on sidewalks and driveways this week and into next week. The asphalt street tie-ins on Anderson Street, Bailey Drive, and the west side of East Main Street by Manchester Dental, those were all completed last week Friday. And they did some asphalt drives as well. There's a couple asphalt driveways left to be done. Particularly the east driveway for Turnkey, and then some asphalt there in front of Farmers Union Co-op. So they'll be back again to finish up some asphalt stuff once all the concrete driveways and stuff get in. But Top Grade, I had a discussion with them today. They're thinking tentative completion date, weather pending, by August 19th. So that's by Monday, August 19th, hopefully. The road is open to traffic, like say weather pending, and we'll kind of keep everybody up to date as things proceed here.
Is that included with the mill and overlay, or is that
No.
before the mill and overlay?
That's before, no overlay won't start until after September
Okay,
1st.
okay.
The thing I wanted to make sure we push the contractor on, so we have that open before school starts.
August 23rd.
23rd, so we want me, the intersection open so the buses can get in and out.
I'll be sure to relay that on to them. I know their working days, as right now, where they're at working day wise, August 23rd is when the project needs to be completed by, granted, there's no rain days in between, but right now there's 24 and a half working days left in the contract. Also to let you know that I will be out of the office from August 2nd through August 9th vacation, so. So I think there's just a committee whole meeting in there on the 5th, but just want to let everybody know, so everybody's aware of that. Obviously, anything is call the office. But yeah, that's what I have for an update. If anybody has any other questions, comments?
Questions, Suzanne?
I think it's looking good. I was down the other day and talked to one of your coworkers and kind of already knew the subcontractor thing had happened and. But yeah, I mean, it still looks good, but they ain't got the manpower.
Yeah, like I say, with the, few kind of punch list items as we kind of go here, that as far as concrete related, that they're getting addressed, but we'll obviously have a final walkthrough at the end, and we'll have to have a final walkthrough with DOT and city staff when it comes to that time. But yeah, otherwise, like I say, they'll keep kind of plugging along and
Do you have an estimated delivery date on the 88 homes for the trail? With the intersection bridge?
I know with. I'll have to check on that. Those should be pretty readily available. I'll check though.
That's one of the delays in pouring the concrete on that trail is we have to get the domes in place.
Then we'll replace the knobs on them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll check.
I hate shoveling around those.
Okay, is that all, Sam?
Yep.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
I have nothing tonight.
Okay. Tim?
Reminder, there are 5 Mondays in July, so you have next Monday off. Use it wisely. We'll meet Monday, August 5th, video whole meeting. That'll be here, 5 o'clock. We will also talk about setting up a time to do it for the water department, later on in August, probably be the 3rd Monday of the month. And then just a reminder, I will be out of the office, July 24th, and I'll be back August 1st. I have a wedding to attend.
His daughter's getting married, right?
Your daughter's. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
In July.
And Texas in July. Lovely. Yeah,
In July.
In July.
lovely.
Somebody's gonna be, standing up there at the altar thinking they should have picked a different location.
Okay, Aaron?
No.
Okay. Brian?
No.
Linda? Marion? Other? Bill?
Nothing.
Bill?
Leg was laid up over the fair week. I had 30, 40 people literally thank me for, Grand Avenue being open.
It was.
They thought that worked terrific getting out of there. They were able to sneak up and around and a lot of them popped out and then the other ones that were going south went out the other way, took a right. I heard a bunch of good comments about it.
Parking
so.
was even better.
Parking was terrible.
Oh, you thought parking was
Oh, yeah.
terrible?
I didn't get up there. I'm sorry. I didn't. I still haven't even drove on the street.
I thought it was nice.
Well, you got a little
Muddy.
time to.
I know. I do that.
Actually, I just wanted to bring up, I had seen some stuff on social media about Back to Blue coming up pretty soon. They're still looking for volunteers and, donations for the silent auction.
Other than that's all I got.
Thank you, Bill. Chris Halverson reached out to me today. The motorcycle trials are going to be on August 3rd and 4th. And, they've invited, the council to come up if you want to meet the riders during their riders meeting, which is, the meeting starts at 10:45 and will be located behind Bush and the Peck. Which on Saturday, August 3rd, 10:45 a.m. So you're all welcome to come and see them there.
10:45 is the riders meeting.
Yep, that's the writers' meeting. And yeah, they're really excited to do that, to be back in Manchester, so they'd like to be able to see everybody and thank them personally. And then you said about the library, so I got that all taken care of. And I think that was all I had. So with that, I'll take a motion from Bill, a second from Joe, that we are adjourned, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.